Welcome to Fashion Reverie Talks. I am Cicily Daniels.
I'm Tijana Ibrahimovic.
Fashion Reverie takes you from the front lines of fashion to the front row.
And all of Fashion Reverie Talks segments are based on published content found on fashionreverie.com.
So remember, if you want more information on the segments, go to fashionreverie.com. And if you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button of this episode on YouTube.
Cicily, it is good to have you back. And congratulations on being cast in the Broadway revival of Yankee.
Oh, thank you.
Great to see it. And hopefully maybe discuss it on Fashion Reverie Talks.
Oh, there you go.
So in this episode, we are happy to have fashion designer, FIT professor, and casting agent Renaldo Barnette to speak with Kristopher Fraser about his article, African Models versus Black American Models. Who comes out on top? We will also have our end of the season fashion quiz with fashion publicist Scott French. We start, of course, all of our episodes with fashion news first. So all of our news segments are based on the fashion news alert found on fashionreverie.com. I'm going to start this off with Moschino's new fashion creative directors. So everyone's familiar with Moschino, at least I know all of our viewers are, and known for sort of in-your-face, outrageous fashion, some pretty memorable looks. Even their perfume bottles are pretty cool and fun. So, however, in recent years, they have struggled to establish profitability, and they laid off over 200 employees in 2025. So as of May of 2026, Moschino had to admit to its shareholders that the brand has become financially insolvent. However, creative director Adrian Appiolazza has left the Italian fashion house and has been replaced with the designer duo of Loris Messina and Simone Rizzo. And Rizzo and Messina were formerly at the defunct Italian fashion brand Sune. So let's see how they will do with Moschino. I mean, changes are always good, and the customers always love the fresh look.
That's right. I guess we will see. Well, my news is about some controversy that surrounded the Louis Vuitton Men's Spring 2027 collection. Now, as most of you know, Pharrell Williams is the creative director of Louis Vuitton Men, and he chose to present the artistic choices in terms of how it was presented was with presenting the 2027 collection with an artificial waterfall. And this is at the same time that Paris and Europe generally is facing some of the highest temperatures in history. So there was an 8-meter high water feature against a sand covered runway, and it was set to Pharrell's music, and it was installed outside of the Cité Universitaire, which is a residential complex that houses like 12,000 students. And so residents and politicians criticized Pharrell and Louis Vuitton for this public venue, for this high fashion kind of water feature, while the temperatures in Paris were over 40 degrees Celsius, which for us, the US people, is 104 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's extraordinarily hot there. Now, apparently this water came from the Paris water supply, pumped to the site, and then was redirected back into the Paris sewer system, and it had some kind of closed loop system. But understandably, there was, a public reaction, and they tried to explain that LVMH, it's a 6-week installation, that they had the permission of their host, and that they are also giving scholarship to help fund the structure and help with students. So, maybe there's some kind of back and forth in terms of what LVMH thought they were doing, and maybe with how the residents perceived what they were doing. So controversy, and also, we're wishing for everyone in Paris that they are staying cool in this very, very hot times right now.
Well, they did have a real fountain when they had a show at the Frick Collection. So that was a pretty successful show in New York City. So we got it right as usual. So a last piece of fashion news is that Julian Dosena left Rabanne after 13 years. And it is sort of an open secret that Olivier, who left Balmain in 2025, will assume the creative direction of Rabanne after Dosena's departure. However, it is not announced yet. So they said they will announce it in due time. So we will see what happens. But we know that Olivier is kind of very good in reviving pretty iconic older brands that need maybe a new creative direction. So let's see what happens. I'm all for it, and I'm excited to see it. We will
Yes.
see it with Balmain. So yeah.
All right. Well, viewers, you know that fashion news at Fashion Reverie Talks is where to stay on top of what's going on in fashion. So if you want to get more information, keep coming back and check out the fashion news alerts. I am so pleased to bring a couple of special guests and, well, I guess one regular. We are so happy to have fashion designer and FIT professor and casting agent, Renaldo Barnette. And he's going to be speaking with our own Kristopher Fraser about his article, African Models versus Black American Models. And the question is, who comes out on top? Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Happy to be here again with you guys, Cicily, of course, as always.
Always. So, Kristopher, how did you come up with this article, and why did you have the interest in this development?
Well, we're fresh off some of the Paris men's shows, and Couture's coming up. And, as a stylist, because I'm constantly working with various models and occasionally dealing with casting myself, I was just going through models.com and like noticing who were some like the top 50 models right now, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things that stuck out to me was I did not see a lot of Black American models. And while fashion's made a lot of strides over the past decade or so, and there were plenty of Black models on like the top 50 list, which I was really happy to see as someone who gotten in the industry like in the mid 2010s. And I still remember even then going to shows that had all white cast models.
Yes.
Mind you, America had already elected a half Black president twice, but I was still going to runway shows that sometimes had all white models.
That is shocking then. And
I noticed that there weren't a lot of Black American models on these lists. So that sort of like sparked my controversy, sparked my curiosity of like, oh, okay, we've made a lot of inroads with, having more Black models get like the big jobs, the runway shows, the ad campaigns, but a lot of the Black models they're using come from other parts of the diaspora. They're either Caribbean or Caribbean American like me, or they're from Africa.
So there definitely seems to be like a surge in the African models over the Black American models. And what do you contribute this to? And this is a question for both of you. I would love to hear from you.
Well, I contributed to, my thing is, who's at the table? Who's at the table as far as choices go, as far as casting agents go? I have been in this industry a very long time. I lived in Paris in the late 1980s. I worked for Patrick Kelly. My roommate was model Coco Mitchell. And so when people talk about diversity in fashion, I go back to, I've been keeping up with fashion, believe it or not, since I was 6 years old, when Diana Vreeland was the editor-in-chief of Vogue magazine. and my
Wow.
mother would get it. So um, I'm pretty well versed on the ins and outs and the trends of models. I mean, I got in trouble when I was 14 years old for sending away to New York uh, to get head sheets from Ford and Zoli and all these other agencies in New York. I can't tell you the old agencies. I remember Zoli and, oh God, what was Ellen Hearth agency? So I go back that far. My mother was like, why is my phone bill from New York? Excuse me. But that's a little bit about me. But I do think it goes back to who is behind the desk, who's seeing the models. And this trend goes back to when Patrick Kelly died, which was in like 1990. The season before that, a lot of people started hiring casting directors. Most houses, whether you were in New York, Paris, or London, especially the Italian designers, the Giorgio Armani, Gianfranco Ferré, they always hired who they wanted.
Mm.
Like, there was a PR in-house staff that would look at model packages and then they would present to the designer. After Anna Wintour started at Vogue, everything got to be a business. And that became the British invasion. It happened with not only models and casting directors, it happened with us as designers. I can tell you it happened to me personally with my British design directors. I could write a book on it. Okay. So it happened with the British design directors. I remember, as a matter of fact, the British casting directors. One of the first ones was at Christian Dior because I went with Rebecca Ayoko, my roommate Coco Mitchell, and Katusha, one of the premier African models of that era. So when people talk about diversity, if you went to a show in, say, 1987, 88, 89, there was a lot of diversity. You had every girl from the shade of Carla Otis and Veronica Webb and to the girls like Coco, Iman, Sonia Cole, all the way to Rashumba Williams. So it was, excuse me, a lot of diversity in those days. Then there was the British invasion happened. So at that casting, the British people were casting and they decided to let's have all the Black girls just come out in bathing suits. And a lot of the Black girls were really upset. Katusha, I know, refused to do it. So the only Black models that season, it was a spring season. They would book Black girls in the spring for the bright colors and bathing suits. So the only girls that got clothes in that show instead of bathing suits were Katusha because she threatened to walk. And I don't mean walk the show, I mean walk. And Rashumba because she was the hottest girl. And of course, Naomi Campbell. Those were the three and there were like 40 models in the shows in those days. I mean, they were huge. And back in those days, all the models usually had more than 2 changes. This one girl, one look started when I was designing at Tula. And they kind of actually started that trend. So there are little trends that started the industry, but mainly it's because of the British casting directors who had this very colonized, colonial thing about African and Black models. They had these things where they could only look good in bright colors, so you didn't book them for fall shows. And then also the fall of the wall. You know, that brought in all the Slavic models, and they loved it. It was a trend. I have an issue of Essence, probably from 1991 or 92, and it has Naomi Campbell on the cover, and it says, "Where have all the Black models gone?" So from Kristopher's era, there was a thing, they kind of were getting some more Black girls in, because you started in like the early 2000s, Kristopher.
Back up, Ronaldo. I am not that old.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't know when you started.
2010s.
2010s. Okay.
My
Just
first
remember
fashion week I covered back when I was covering runway shows was fall 2015 fashion week, so February of 2015.
Oh, okay. I didn't know how when you started. It was nothing, against you. I apologize. But anyway, at that time, they had the girls, the Grace Balls, Chanel Imans and those girls. So it had opened up a little bit again. And I also think it was because of Edward Enninful, because he had a seat at the table.
Talking about the seats at the table and who are making these decisions, very fascinating. I'm wondering, because you mentioned there are kind of a lot of these the East African models, and so from some of the West African countries as well, Cape Verde, Nigeria, and they have these like very tall, lean bodies that some of the designers love. And I feel like you can find that same look with the Black American models, but do you feel like the consensus in fashion is that the African models have more of that very specific lean look? What would you say about that?
I think it goes back to sort of this, especially with like Black female models, with Black American female models, there's a history of this mammification projected onto Black female bodies, where they're considered too big, too curvy, unattractive, maternal looking, not sexy. Whereas there's this exotification of African models, where it's all like they're lean, they're Amazonian, they're, like gazelles racing through the safari, like this perception of that's very colonial and very problematic that helps create that divide between, you know, them looking more towards the African models for that when there are Black American models built like that right here
Mm-hmm.
outside the city in New York.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And some of it, like you said, Ronaldo, could have to do with who are making the decisions, right? If you have maybe perhaps a more British kind of viewpoint of things, there may be, kind of that like a preference, or just like oh, I see that particular body in that type of outfit. So that's a very interesting, occurrence that I think is happening. Do you think that this unlikely surge could have something to do with the fashion brands attempting to appeal to the rising upper classes of consumers in Africa?
I think that may have something to do with it. I do remember during one particular drought of Black models, and there was a rise in Asian models. And I do remember some casting people that I knew from England said, well, we book Asian models because they have the money to buy the clothes. So I was saying, oh, are you saying that Black people don't? And they were like, oh, no, 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 no. I'm like, because I look at Black celebrities and I look at Black people like Melody Hobson, and I know they don't loan her clothes. She pays for clothes, and she is a couture customer, so as are other Black women. So I do think that may have something to do with it, the globalization and realizing that in the African economy that, yes, there is money, but also they should start recognizing that on the continent of Africa and so many African countries, that they also have designers that are not just about a European aesthetic and have just as fine a quality as the Europeans. And I think they have to learn how to compete with that, and hiring Black African models as some type of brand ambassador will help them.
Yes, yes. Definitely, there are African people and Black American people and really Black people all over the diaspora who have money to spend on fashion and who are going to prioritize fashion in their lives. And so, would hope to see brands finding a way to reach out to those consumers and make sure that they're feeling represented in their shows and campaigns. Well, the fashion industry loves a trend. So are we calling this a trend, or do you think this is here to stay?
I do not like the concept of referring to bodies or body types or specific looks of people as a trend.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of like this surge of it, the African models have always been there. And, we have a lot more Black models now. And to the earlier question, too, Black people statistically are the second largest consumers of luxury goods after Asians.
Mm.
So, in terms of Black models going somewhere, that's not happening if these luxury brands are still trying to sell clothes. And they've definitely clocked that more now. Like, I think that situation that Renaldo was just talking about earlier, where, they were acting like Black people did not have the money to buy luxury clothes. I really don't think that would happen again. Not because people got less racist, but because these brands know where there's money's coming from. For example, I have a friend that used to work for a major, major, major luxury brand. And he told me they had like some like DEI training where they put like different sets of people on the wall. They're like, okay, like Asian man, 40 years old, Black woman, 30 something years old, white man, this age, these are their job professions. And they had to guess who was going to be the most likely to buy the most out of all, like these four people presented to them. The answer was the Black woman.
Oh my goodness. What a fascinating. I mean, it is not surprising, but it still is surprising in a way that there even is that level of, or that type of training is a surprise.
So the African models and are definitely getting the due that they've so long deserved in terms of of fashion having more models from the Black diaspora period. But I
Mhm.
do think there needs to be a push for having more Black American models to, further diversify. Like Black models just shouldn't come from this one part of the diaspora, even though there's so many beautiful African models out there. And Okyai just won Model of the Year. Aman Haman, who's a North African. We've got, gorgeous models coming out of Africa, but that's not the only part of her diaspora.
I agree. I agree. Once again, I do like to pull the curtain back a bit, and go back to the people that are making the decisions. I'm still, even though because I'm juggling a lot of things here. So even though I teach, I design, and I cast, I also help scout. So I scout for Karen Lee Group, who she was like the head scout of Elite for over 20 years.
Mhm.
And her and Sandy Bass, who's a member of the, if anybody knows fashion history, Givenchy's Black Cabine. She's now a
Yes.
scout with Karen Lee. And they are two of my dearest friends, and I also scout for them. And I've taken some kids over to Karen, and both white and Black American kids. And Karen told at least two of them, one white, one Black, it's not your time right now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Isn't that interesting?
And I fought her on it, because I'm like, look at these kids, look at their measurements, look at their heights. Karen, and I have to admit, I'm one of those people too. I have a certain, spot that I
Mhm.
like to see,
Mhm.
and these two people were the spot. And so, like Kristopher, I know you were saying about trends in people, even though a lot of people hate that there are trends in people in fashion, there are always trends in people. It's just the way it is. I will say now, it's those trends are diversified because of social media, because there's a lot more people will speak out. I mean, that's how Precious Lee became successful. People like, why aren't there any larger women on the runway?
Mhm.
Um, And like again, I have a sweet spot. If I scout a larger girl, she's got to be at least 5'10". Don't send me anybody 5'7". So I'm a gatekeeper. You want to call me that? I'm that. You know, and I used to have to fit clothes on Kate Moss when I was a designer at Anne Klein. I was against booking her because she didn't have a good body for clothes, but I had no control over it. I didn't have a seat at the table. Donna Karen would come over and tell Louis, "Oh, we gotta book these new girls that's shorter." You know, I'm telling you, I was there. So, and Louis would go, "Well, Donna, I don't know. She's really tiny." But then they put another tiny white woman there, you know, and another one and another one. There was Chandra North and what's the other tiny one from Estee Lauder? But anyway, those were the girls, 3 5'7" white women that we had to book, even though we had to literally make the clothes over because our girl was 5'10", you know, and at that time a size 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there will be these trends.
Right.
There just are.
Yeah.
But
well,
like
there
I said,
are the
to Kristopher's calling, I think that the powers that be have to really listen to what the people are saying. And that's because they have a bigger influence now. Before, come on, the All-American Look Eileen Ford set in the late 1940s, and they were all Swedish. You know, one of the most racist agents in the world. Yes, I said it.
I love that you said it. And what I think is so great, I thank you so much, Renaldo. Number one, I want you to do impressions of all of these fashion greats, like just so that
I'm so sorry.
No, I love it because it helps.
No, don't apologize.
It brings us into the room, into the space, into what it really is like and was like in your vast experience. So I think that's incredible.
Look, I talk like this with my friends a lot, and all of my friends, they know Donna and Louis, and you know, so.
Well, so for those of us who don't, it's a very special thing to be able to, you know, really understand what you're experiencing.
I'm sorry, I have a tendency to go blah 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 blah.
So. No, it's wonderful. This is such a fascinating conversation. You know, I'm sure maybe we will come back and check back in a few months, in a year, and see if we think the trend has changed or what we're finding then. But thank you so much, Renaldo, for your insight. Thank you, Kristopher, for your article. And we will all continue to observe and wonder who's in the room making the decisions and how that affects who we're seeing out in the world for Black models and African models. And as a part of the Black diaspora, I'm bring on all of the ladies of color is where I always am at. So hopefully more models looking fabulous and glorious because they're all gorgeous. So thank you so much both for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to join you, Cicily.
Hello, everyone. It's time for the end of the season quiz. And in celebration of our 8th season, we have 8 questions on this week's quiz. So it's the longest edition ever. Excited? And I just want to let everybody know who's watching at home, this will be Tijana's, if she continues to win, an 8th season streak of wins. So
don't put pressure.
And I'll tell you, she's feeling the pressure because this morning she texted me trying to get the answers in advance. No, I will not. No, I'm only kidding. So anyway, shall we dive right in?
No, his price just went up.
So let's start out this season. We'll get started right in with question number 1. And here we go. There's 4 answers to each choice. And of course, as is normal, I give a little bit of a lesson. I wouldn't be the professor I was for many years without giving you a little lesson about each question. So question 1, ready? What next Netflix, I can't say that. What next, oh my God, I said it again. I'll start over. What Netflix series hit that has a strong fashion focus is ending after 6 seasons? Is it A, The Witcher, B, Bridgerton, C, Emily in Paris, or D, The Sandman? That's A, The Witcher, B, Bridgerton, C, Emily in Paris, or D, The Sandman. So let's everybody hold up your answers and we will see. Cicely came out early with a C, Christopher with a C, and Tijana, I can't see a C. Well, guess what?
What do you mean?
You all have 1 point in the board. So yes,
Thank goodness.
many may not know this about the star of Emily in Paris, Lily Collins, but she's actually the daughter of British music legend Phil Collins, who's best known for his time as the drummer of Genesis and later as his own solo career. And a little bit of a touching moment. They worked together for the first time in Tarzan, and one of the most celebrated songs, which was "You'll Be in My Heart," was a lullaby tribute from her father to his daughter, Lily. So a lot of emotion going on there with that show. So we're all on the board with one each. Number two is about Isaac Mizrahi. Isaac Mizrahi has a new job. Where is his new position? This was just announced this week. Is it A, at Lilly Pulitzer, B, Anne Klein, C, at Donna Karan, or D, at Target? So we have A, Lilly Pulitzer, B, Anne Klein, C, Donna Karan, or D, at Target. So everybody's answers, show them. Tijana says D, Kristopher says D, and Cicely, I can't see what you're saying. What is your...
Can you see?
D as well. D. Okay, so we have 3 Ds. Well, you are all paying attention to Fashion Reverie, obviously, because yes, it is D. Where do I begin with this little lesson? Because I have so much to share about Isaac. Isaac and I go way back. However, Isaac returns to Target after he just completed a nationwide tour of his cabaret act where he sang, mused about his life, and even sketched a few creations while he was recounting about stories about his famous clients. And even but people don't realize that this recent cabaret tour is actually his second cabaret tour. He was originally on an off-Broadway show called Les Mizrahi, where he did a very similar act. And this is the last really deep dive fact here. His first entertainment appearance was on the opening scenes of the movie Fame back in the late 80s, where he played a student on Fame. So Isaac has a long history of being an entertainer, and yet he found his fame and fortune in fashion. So question 3, we go into question 3 neck and neck. Everybody has 2 on the board. Alyssa Louis, gold medal winner in figure skating in the 2026 Winter Olympics, recently signed a major brand with which major footwear brand? Was it A, Puma, B, New Balance, C, everyone's coveted Nike brand, collaboration, or D, Adidas? So is it A, Puma, B, New Balance, C, Nike, or D, Adidas? So I got to have the answers. I see a lot of thoughtful faces going on our panel here. So what does everybody say? We have Kristopher says A, Cicely says A, and Tijana, I can't see your answer. What is it, Tijana? She went with A as well. Well, what do you know? Uncharacteristic. All 3 of you got this one wrong. So the correct answer is actually C, Nike. Yes, Alyssa Louis got Nike sponsorship, but a little known fact about Nike. Phil Knight and Bill Bowerman, when they founded the company, didn't want to call it Nike. It began as Blue Ribbon Sportswear, and that didn't really perform very well. So Phil Knight didn't like that name at all and floated calling the company Dimension 6, and he lost the battle, and it was settled that it was going to be called Nike after the Greek goddess of victory. So I think we can all agree over Blue Ribbon Sports or Dimension 6, I think Nike may have been the right choice on that one. So even though Tijana, in a very unexpected wrong answer, it seems that everybody was stumped on that one. So we're 2-2 going into question 4. So this was a little deep dive one here as well. Which PR fashion maven had some nasty things to say recently about America's top model, Jay Emanuel? Was it A, Deborah Hughes, B, Karen Bromley, C, Nora Lawler, or D, Kelly Catrone? So who's talking smack about Jay Emanuel this past week? A, Deborah Hughes, B, Karen Bromley, or C, Nora Lawler? So Kristopher weighs in early with a D, as does Tijana.
I actually had the D up. I was just cheating. It's in my hand, I swear to God.
Well, I don't know about this one. Yeah, but no.
How did you put Nora Lawler?
The answer is D, Kelly Catrone. So she was actually talking some bad things about Jay Emanuel. With Kelly, not necessarily bad things. Kelly's pretty much truthful. I was with Kelly actually last week at the Tribeca Film Festival, where she actually debuted a film that she's executive producer of called From Farm to Fashion, a mini documentary about sheep growers in upstate New York. They're providing fashion with organic wool. So it's a really cool film. So she's switched gears there into film, but she still has something to say about fashion. So we're going into question 5 here, 3 to 3. Which legendary fashion family has departed its iconic fashion brand? Was it the Armani family, who pulled out of Armani, the Mazzoni family out of Mazzoni, the Valentino family pulling out of Valentino, or the family of Roberto Cavalli? So 4 fashion brands: Armani, Mazzoni, Valentino, and Cavalli, all family founded. Which one family recently left? Was it A, Armani, B, Mazzoni, C, Valentino, or D, Cavalli? So let's have the answers. See, Christopher's going with A, Armani. Tijana is going with B, Mazzoni. Cicily?
I'm sorry, don't tell me
You
things.
can say it if you want.
I don't. What did I just decide? I have no idea. I'm going with C.
C, what do you know? Very uncharacteristic, all 3. Well, one of you has it right. Are you ready for the correct answer?
Yes.
It's Tijana with B. The Mazzonis just departed ways. A little known story here. I had no idea about this. It's fascinating. Rosita and Ottavio Mazzoni first met in 1948 when Ottavio was on the Olympic team as a sprinter for the Italian Olympics. I had no idea. And he was making his own tracksuits at the time with little zippers down with the legs to go over sneakers. And Rosita credits him with actually being the first designer ever to design athleisure clothing. So little you know. So we now have a breakaway. Tiana's off with a 4 to 3 lead here. 2 questions to make it up. You ready? Tiana Taylor has had a breakout year, winning Golden Globe and being nominated for an Academy Award. Cicely, that's going to be your next year, but you're going to start with the Tonys. She also is the new face of a new beauty campaign for which cosmetic brand? Was it Revlon, Estee Lauder, sorry, A Revlon, 2 Estee Lauder, or B Estee Lauder, sorry, C MAC Cosmetics, or D CoverGirl. So A Revlon, B Estee Lauder, C MAC, or 4 CoverGirl. Christopher is very confident with his first letter A. What does Tiana's say? A for Tijana.
I just forgot the that's
And A for Cicely. What do you know? All 3 of you got that one right. It's actually Revlon, yes. And interestingly enough, Revlon got its start back in 1932, but it began a partnership with Elizabeth Arden Salon, the famous Red Door Salon. And it actually was a very successful partnership. It actually led Elizabeth Arden to be the first woman ever featured on the cover of Time magazine as like a business person. The first woman featured on the cover of Time was Elizabeth Arden for her Revlon collaboration. So hopefully it'll do the same thing for Tijana as it did for Elizabeth Arden back in the day.
For a moment, I thought this Tijana, but
No, well, maybe for you too, Tijana. No, but you're going to get your fame in winning maybe the 8th season of the Fashion Reverie quiz. So here, this is a really fun one. Which iconic Black American model, keeping with our theme of the show today, is suing a major television network for defamation of character? So there's a big lawsuit pending. Is it A, Beverly Johnson, B, Veronica Webb, C, Tyra Banks, or D, Pat Cleveland? So let's see your answers. We have Christopher says C, Tijana says C, and Cicely C as well. You are all correct. Tyra Banks is suing over some defamation charges over her America's Next Model expose. My comments about her: Tyra, defamation. You said it on camera. We'll move on. So there's
That's
that. I don't mean not to talk smack there, but I watched the whole thing. I'm sorry.
Me too.
And it was also shot with no edit. So let's be it's like anyway. So we're going into this last one. You guys have a chance here, Tijana.
Oh no.
They're all kicking at your shins here. Which supermodel is on the cover of W magazine after an absence of almost 2 decades from being on covers? Is it A, Gisele Bündchen? C, Chrissy Turlington, who my wife saw shopping in the Hamptons last week. C, Chrissy McManamy. Or D, Karen Mulder. So is it Gisele, Christy, Turlington, Christy McMenemy, or D, Karen Mulder? Just hit the cover. Christy's weighing in with a D. Karen Mulder. Cicily's going with B. Christy Turlington. And Tijana, A. Giselle Bundchen. Well, guys, one of you has it right. So did you tie Tijana or both lose to Tijana? What do you think, Cicely?
I can't handle this. Tell
I
us.
could have easily lost because
Well, the answer
guessing.
is Giselle. Giselle is arguably one of the most successful models of all time, was actually discovered in the McDonald's in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And she wasn't even trying to model. She was there on a trip, a modeling trip that she signed up on just to get herself away from her small town in Brazil with her friend who wanted to be a model. They all went to McDonald's, and she got discovered while waiting at McDonald's in line at McDonald's in Sao Paulo. Her original desire was, ready for this, who she wanted to be? A professional volleyball player. That was her desire. I think that maybe modeling did better for her than the volleyball. Well, everybody, big news. Tijana has 7, Cicely has a 5, and Kristopher 5. So Tijana, you have 8 seasons in a row of winning the quiz. Everybody, as I always say, if you want to learn about this and many, many, many more fashion facts, tune on to fashionreverie.com to get the whole story.
Okay, now when do I get my reward check?
Oh, I heard it was just like the honor of winning.
No, you guys didn't know this is $1 million check. You guys, so maybe you would have studied more.
Gifts are okay too.
Okay.
She only accepts gifts from Saks and Bergdorf's, by the way.
Ooh.
Well, my gift
And
was,
some jewelry stores are good too.
I had a Harry Winston box, but I'll take it back. So thank you all.
Well, viewers, that's it for this last episode of the season of Fashion Reverie Talks. I'm going to miss you, Tijana.
I'm going to miss you as well, Cicely. Maybe we can, practice some quiz questions over this.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm just going to be drinking, but we can practice. You practice. I'll just have a champagne.
Okay, well, we would like to thank Renaldo Barnette, Scott French, and Kristopher Fraser for coming on this last episode of the season.
For information on these and other stories, go to fashionreverie.com. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you in September.